Yo, what's good, y'all? Welcome to the F.M.F podcast. I'm your host, Mike, and this is
Danny.
And this is where we talk about all things faith, music, and fashion. Welcome to our first episode. If y'all didn't know, Mike, myself, and Daniela are creatives. Daniela and I are creatives, and we love creativity. We love God. We love music, and we love fashion. And we're going to just talk to you a little bit about our journey today, introduction to our story, how we got into what we were into, and yeah, hopefully share some encouraging words with y'all before we get into like the meat of today. I have a couple of questions for you, Danielle, that I will answer as well. This has to do with our topics, fashion, music, and faith. So the first one, let's do music. What are 3 songs currently in your rotation, 2 to 3 songs that you cannot live without?
Okay, There's 3 songs I cannot live without right now, and actually one of them is unreleased. It's one of your songs, Hocus Pocus.
It's not called Hocus Pocus. That's just the name of the beat.
Well, I asked you what's the name of it, and you have yet to tell me.
There's no name of it, but the beat's called Hocus Pocus. Just for anybody out there.
I'm kind of biased because it's about us. And then there's 2 other songs that really pull on my heartstrings.
Yeah.
That is Drake, Small Town Fame, and Won't Fly by John Keith.
All right, those are great songs. I mean, Drake, I love that Drake song. John Keith just dropped the album called Grow Wings, and it's pretty amazing. And that Won't Fly song is on there.
Phenomenal.
The music video just dropped. It's phenomenal too. Shout out John, the homie. For me, 3 songs I cannot live without right now. Alex Jean, Red Plus Green. Such a fire song. Alex just dropped a project called The Author's Ballad. And the whole project is fire, but that Red Plus Green song just stood out to me. And it's in rotation every day since Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever it dropped. Another song is...
Go ahead, Alex.
I love Yebba. Yebba's so fire that she has a song called I Adore You. I need that song every day in my life.
Every day.
I got played at least one time because it's so good. And
he's not lying.
There's a couple other songs in the rotation, but Yebba right now is at the top of those songs. And then for a hype song, I always got to get hype throughout my day. If you don't know, hype is a ting. But it would have to be Scooty Wop. Scooty Wop, Blow the Whistle. That is my song.
I don't think have I heard that song?
Yes.
Okay. I'm the worst.
50 footed.
My brain is real. I don't
look at me. That's my song right there. That's my song. All right, cool.
Okay, wait. I have to say Code Red. I keep forgetting. I have to say Code Red.
Okay.
Because that is like
Arkeli, right?
Yeah, I can't live without that song.
Code Red is fire. Shout out Arkeli. That's the homie. I'm gonna be at your release or listening party on the 18th. Yeah, that song is.
Let's do it.
Great song. All right, cool. So next we're gonna talk about fashion. So what are 2 fashion pieces that are currently out right now that you are really vibing to?
Okay, so I am, for y'all who don't know, shameless plug, I have a brand, Unfinished Denim. So I am really obsessed right now with the stacked denim. I'm actually making a piece to honor the stacked denim. I cannot wait to release it. And also the tabby toe shoes.
Tabby toe.
Every version of it. The boot, the flat, the heel, every version of it. I love a tabby toe.
I cannot stand tabby toe shoes.
Nike just came out with a tab toe that I want to get. And they're so comfortable. I went and tried them on.
Okay.
Obsessed.
I won't judge. I'm not a fan of tabby toes.
You say that now, but
maybe.
I already found some like loafers I want to put on you that are tab toe.
We'll see. I gotta try it on first. But yeah, those are good picks. I think for me, the 2 pieces fashion wise that I've really been gravitating towards right now is crop graphic tees. I don't know why. There's just something about them that I like. I feel like you put them with a good jean and a good shoe and a good hat, and they bring the outfit together without trying. So I like a crop graphic, and I really y'all know me. I love hats. Hats are my thing, and not just personal reasons. But I like the hats with the jewel pieces on it right now. Those are so fire. Like there's like some necklaces, and they're like, I don't know, they're just like jeweled out hats, and I really vibe with them. I got to copy a few.
The different color jewels, right? Not just the crystal.
Yeah, I mean, they could be crystal, they can be different colored jewels, they can have like the little necklace hoop on them, but yeah, anything like that
It is fire.
Yeah,
It's very fire.
So,
I'm actually in the process of making some of those too.
yeah, so hopefully on our next couple of runs, y'all see an updated fashion sense from us. What is a word of the week for you?
The word of the week for me is to endure.
To endure, okay.
That's the word. I am reminded of the scripture that says that the grace isn't given to the swift or the strong, but all things happen to all different people. And though my understanding was it's given to that who endures to the end, even though that's not what it says, it can be insinuated. So I really love that because I feel like God is saying just endure and kind of just wait on the Lord in this season, and that's where I've been at.
I think for me, and I'll give a brief summary, but the word of my week and like my month has been focus. I know the month just started, but focus has really been at the forefront of what God has been showing me for myself, and the focus is connected to identity. I think for me, it's about cutting distractions out and focusing on Him, setting my gaze on Him and not the things that I may want to pursue or things that are distracting me, but gazing on Him so I can find myself. Trying to find myself within myself has been a faulty road this entire time. So
okay, bars
God,
already.
Yeah, God has been putting me on that track because when I am focused on Him, my identity is made perfect. And that's important to me right now too, because I have a lot of things that are up against me and up against us that my feet need to be on firm foundation. And God has been showing me that this is where the creativity meets the cross for me, and at an intersection that will open a door for the kingdom. And that has been kind of the word and the vibe for everything that we've been going into. So
I love that.
Yeah. So that's a perfect segue into what we're actually getting into. Our first conversation is where creativity meets the cross.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about our creativity and how faith has been intertwined in that. And I want to start with you, Danielle. Today, you are a creative of many talents, but today we want to talk about your fashion because the fashion just be killing, girl.
I feel like me wanting to be free and express myself through my fashion has a lot to do with how I dress and how I present myself. It's like for a long time the world tried to tell me, well, culture, church culture and worldly culture both try to put this box around me and say this is what a woman should look like, this is how a woman should dress, and it just didn't match with my DNA and who God's called me to be. Like there was stuff that just didn't feel like oh, this is what I should wear. And challenging the norms and challenging the culture, I decided to make a stance for myself and say, hey, like I don't have to wear a dress, or I don't have to wear heels. I don't have to look like the video girls, and I don't have to look like the church women. No shade to either of them, but God was just building out my own lane and showing me that there is beauty in who I've called you to be, and that is maybe, like I say in my poem, nappy hair, thick lips, tall legs, whatever the case may be. How can I appreciate the body that God has given me? And people who do that in the industry, to me, who are like just embody everything that they feel like they are, I would have to say Chris Brown, Rihanna, Tiana Taylor. These are some people that really inspire me, who really just dress how they want to dress and don't worry about what society says about them, and I love that.
Fire. No, that's good. I want to circle back around to a point that you made earlier, but before I do that, tell us a little bit about your lane. You kind of told us, but like more so your style and what your journey in fashion and styling and design has brought you thus far. Yeah,
so my journey is one of like, again, storytelling and like owning the freedom that I feel like God has given me to be who I am and be who I am without, to have the audacity to just be who I am, right? And through that, I feel like I attract other people who have a story and have a a desire for freedom
Yeah.
and want to express themselves through how they dress. So that leads me to some of my clients and people who I've worked with, even styling you and styling your music videos, styling
all of my music videos.
John Keith and Taylor Hill, and just like really getting to know them and being able to be like, hey, this is you, let's elevate it. And I love to elevate people's characters and what they're trying to represent and what story they're trying to tell within their music. That is very important to me, to work with artists who, one, love God, and who two, have a story to tell.
That's fire. And again, I'm just throwing this out here because I'm your hype man, your biggest hype man. But you just did a fashion show last year too, ModeCon, right? Where you got to display unfinished jeans, your design product. You feel me? How was that experience?
That was, it was a twofold, because I was pregnant.
Yes, you was.
I was 2 months pregnant at that time.
Yes, you were.
Or 3 months pregnant at that time. So I was like sick, and I was up at like 1 a.m. trying to like prep for this shoot, for this fashion show. But the fun part about it was being able to show other people. It's like a twofold thing. It's like I'm showing my designs, but I'm also showing off beautiful people who may not have that understanding that they are something special. So I'm able to send that message to them while also honoring the message that God has put inside of me. It was amazing. And it was also dope because I was able to actually choose music that kind of coincided with what I believe in.
It's for the runway, right?
For the runway.
Shout out ModeCon 2025. Hopefully we back on it.
Hopefully.
Fire. Okay, so like circling back around and to close up this segment, I wanted to ask you said a really, really important point, which was like you found your style and who you are in between this crossroad of I'm not this Kojic church girl that this religious standpoint is trying to make me to be, but I'm also getting away from this girl that's out here, being a whole lot in the streets and whatever. And you said you found yourself in the middle. What does that middle look like style wise for you, and who was that girl?
That's a great question. I feel like Kojic is my foundation. I feel like church is my foundation, God is my foundation, and I'm able to embody that, but I'm also able to understand culture within the world, right? So I feel like my stance is like I am the bridge that I feel like God has called me to be the bridge to within these two worlds, to where it's like, hey, you can be dope, but God has also said to not who takes a light and covers it. Shining that light. In order to shine that light, I have to have a confidence that says I know who I am because I know who He is. So I feel like I am God's light in a dark place, but also I am the embodiment of the church.
Fire. That's dope.
I hope that makes sense.
I love that. And no shade to any side, but I feel like you are the embodiment of this intersection. And again, we're talking about how creativity meets the cross, and I feel like the cross is an intersection for all of us to come to and meet Yeshua, Jesus, and to be built up and gain a new identity in Him. I think that's a very important point. So now let's get into my story in music. Y'all don't know I'm a music artist, I'm a rapper, I'm a hip hop artist, songwriter, but before any of that, I realized that music isn't my calling. Music is a gift that I have, and the gift was birthed out of adversity in my life. I had a ton of adversity growing up in foster care. I was in this foster home, and me as an artist doesn't exist without the faith aspect of my life. I wasn't thinking about doing music. I wasn't doing music before I met God and gave my life to Him. It all came together as one package. I think we've all had this moment where you've had, I got saved. I asked God to show me if He was real, because I was going through some stuff that was really, really just drowning me. And He showed up, and then I was doing some stuff for the church, like little like dances and whatnot. And then one time this prophet came from outside. I went to a church called Templo de Alabanza, little Pentecostal church in the city of Southgate. What up? And they pulled me and my homeboy aside, and they were like, listen, you have a gift. God wants to use your gift, this ability to do music. And that was the first time I felt affirmed in any aspect of my identity, because I just didn't feel like I had anything to offer. So that was like the first time I felt validated in an ability. I owe everything that I am today to God, because he's kept me and he's the one who's validated me over the years, even when I failed. So after that, music kind of took me to a lot of different places, from performing on college campuses to parties to block parties.
But what do you think that it was like that? What was it within the music that brought that form of freedom?
It was for me being able to express myself, to articulate a depth of pain, but also a depth of hope that I felt, right? I live in the intersection of perspectives and culture and stories, right? Yeah. I never found myself on one side of the spectrum, and we'll go into that a separate day. There's like a depth of just my upbringing that landed me there, but I always found myself in the middle. So with music, I was able to articulate this pain that I felt from being a kid who didn't have parents and a home and a culture to call my own at that point in time. I felt like God gave me all of that, and music was a way that I could articulate that. And then also too, like when I performed certain songs, I realized that there was other people experiencing what I was experiencing, whether that was shame or dealing with lust or just abandonment. When I performed these pieces and other people were like, oh yeah, I thought I was alone in that, it let me know that there was something very significant about what I was doing, because I was showing people that they're not alone. It was also showing me that my story isn't isolated either. So there's a connectivity that God was doing through my music. And I started doing music in the church, and I've always been connected to CHH. So that's kind of been like my foundation.
What's CHH?
CHH stands for Christian hip hop. I got into music off of Christian hip hop, not off of like regular hip hop at all. That's what got me into rap and music at the time. And anywhere that I've gone to perform or to do records or wherever, God and faith has always been at the center. And like I said, music isn't my calling, even though there's been moments in my journey where I've made it my calling. Music is a gift. The ability to songwrite and rap is a gift that I have. My calling is my unique perspective that God has allowed me to experience through the different things that I've gone through in my life, that I bring to him and lay it at his feet, and he crowns it with a level of faith, and I can display that through my gifting and articulate it through my expression. And my calling is to those people that can resonate with similar stories and experiences, and where God wants to use my story to uplift and also free me, because my music is not just for other people, it's for me. And
I love
that's
that.
one of the biggest things that God has shown me. But I've always wanted to be a voice to the voiceless. That's where kind of like my first rap name came from. And yeah, that just kind of carries on. I want to tell stories. I want to tell my story, and I want to tell the stories of a generation, so that way God may breathe on them and let them know he's real. For me, my whole goal is if I can reach one person, I want people to feel God in a way that after I'm done performing, they know that there's something unique and different about this guy. So much so that they ask, what's the difference? And I can tell them it was God. And they can come to him. I've always been somebody like, let me get these people to the door. Let me get them to Yeshua, so that way he can do the work in them. So yeah, that's kind of...
I love that. I was gonna say something. You said so many good points, but I wanted to take it back really quick to the music isn't your purpose. How did you come to that conclusion of like, this isn't my purpose, I have to lay this down? Because we're talking about a cross, right? Or where the cross meets creativity, and what we cannot breeze over is that a cross is not something easy to bear.
Definitely not easy to bear. So there's three aspects of it, right? Purpose, calling, and then gifting. And for me, my purpose is to know God intimately and to live with him. That's my purpose, and to worship him in that, right?
I love that.
My calling is wherever God again, I think calling has a lot to do with makeup, like where your origins, the atmospheres of God allows us to grow in and be a part of. We can feel called to do things based upon where God has placed us in life. And the gift is like the things that we have, the talents, the abilities that we have, right? So I've made music my purpose and calling plenty of times, and that's how I learned that it's not my purpose.
So trial and error.
Yes, of course, because I feel like somewhere along in my journey, I felt like, man, this is everything. And there was like dreams and visions and promises that are attached to music. And I strove for those more than I strove for God. I worshiped music more than I worshiped God, in both aspects, where I was like worshiping, putting music on a pedestal in my own life, creating it, and just the intake of it and consumption and being aware of everything going on in the culture. I put that on a pedestal before listening to the voice of God, seeking him. So learning how to prioritize my gift was super essential to my growth, because, man, like, I love music, but again, for me, this gift of music wasn't in me. It was something that God brought to my life.
Yeah.
So that's something that I've always had to come back to, and God's used it to remind me, like, yo, this doesn't work without your relationship with me. This doesn't work without faith infused. And whenever I go too far astray, he reminds me. But he also reminds me of the opposite end of the spectrum. When I get so consumed with life, when I get to dark places, he allows creativity in music and different aspects of that to remind me that there's something more to what I'm going through. So yeah, I feel like, yeah. Hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, I love that. And it just reminds me that we can't forget that we are also the one that he left the 99 to go out and reach. And I know you love that concept.
Oh man, shout out Chandler Moore, that's my song. Yeah. But that's been a huge mission and drive of me and the guys that, I mean, of course you, because we've been doing music together too, but like our whole thing is like, if we're on this stage, if we're on this record, if I'm writing this song, my goal is to connect with the one person that can connect to this. No matter what the masses may think, or the audiences or the religious people may think, I'm writing this song from a perspective of I'm trying to just help this one person get through it. Because God has done that so much for me in my life, that I have to try to reflect that. Because that one person can change that one person could be a spark that changes a generation. Right? I feel like we've got so caught up in being that one person that sparks the generation, but sometimes, shout out to Pastor Jeremy, he says this a lot, like, we often see ourselves as the Davids versus Goliaths, when we're actually often the rock in the sling, right? We're the weapon that God wields to take down the principalities of a generation. If we can see ourselves as, well, we are warriors too, right? But if we can also see ourselves as sometimes as the things that can spark that change, I feel like we can maximize our function and potential.
I love that.
Yeah. Before we go into like the closing segment of this, like, I want to talk about some of my inspirations in music too, because I feel like that's a key thing. I feel like for me, my inspirations, I always draw to artists that I can hear the voice of God in, that sometimes they're not talking about God so clearly, right? Like, that's always been what I go to. I love
hidden
music.
messages.
Not hidden messages, but that I can just hear God in. There's an artist named Kimbra, and she has a song called Withdraw, one of my favorite artists. And that song, you don't hear her really talk about God, but you can feel her faith in that song.
Yeah.
And that's like one of my favorite songs that I still play to this day, and it's like 10, 15 years old. I love music that does that for me, because I don't know, it just makes me connect with God on a deeper level. So Kimbra is one of my inspirations musically. She's a girl from New Zealand, a super fire artist. Another favorite
Kimbra's fire.
Another group of mine is the Arrows. They had this song called "In the Words of Satan," which some of y'all will know. But after that, I heard that song, I got into their discography. And they have that same thing where they're like, they have songs that's so deep that I know they're talking about the Spirit of God in it, and it just takes you to another level. So I love it. So those are some of my inspirations. Trip Lee, I was listening to Trip Lee when nobody else knew about Trip Lee. Trip Lee was such an instrumental person in my life, artist, because he was young. He was like 17, 16 when he dropped his first album with Reach. If They Only Knew. And me and my boy Patrick, that really changed us because we saw another young person that was our age that was really pursuing God. So Triple E, the way he rapped, the way he just held himself together, you would often mimic him. And then like some of our other like rap and music inspirations have been J. Cole and Drake.
What do you think they all have in common?
Storytelling.
Yeah,
I think with
that's
Trip,
what I was gonna say.
I think with Trip is a little different. I love Trip's like sound, his sonic. I really gravitated towards Trip at the beginning because he was making like fire Christian rap that sounded like mainstream music. Him and Lecrae were both doing that. Okay. But again, Trip was young, so he just had like a different swag to him. But like with Cole and Drake, it's the way they told their story. It's whether Drake's singing, he's rapping for 3 minutes, or he's crafting songs. There's a narrative that you feel. And J. Cole's the same way. J. Cole was a prolific storyteller, and still is. So like I love the aspect of storytelling, and that's something that I try to inject and I feel called to in my artistry. Is the storytell, because I want to tell a story of my generation, but that's my story or theirs.
Dope.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Hopefully I didn't go on a tangent, but
no, that was.
I really love your question about the cross, because I feel like our creativity, although it's not our calling, it often mirrors a cross to bear for us. Yeah. There's been so many times that we are wanting to put it down. Especially me, right? I'll use myself for example. I won't put you on blast, my girl.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't care.
I'm always quick to throw music down. I'm always quick to throw my creative talents down. And for me, that's the practical thing to do when life is, an adversity of life is facing me and I have to choose up.
Yeah.
But I'm always reminded by you as a reflection of God's grace and by God and the Spirit that would be doing, that's like throwing a part of Him away. Because He is the creator who is creative and in putting me these gifts. So I feel like picking up our creativity a lot of times is part of carrying our cross. There's an obedience that God has called us to when it comes to our giftings that I feel like there's some people who put too much emphasis on their giftings and therefore they end up in a place that, is away from God.
Right.
And then there's those of us who we don't put enough emphasis in the things that God called us to, where we end up like the parable of the talents, or that last person in that trio of people, where we hide our talent and we dig a hole and we're like, all right, God, well, life, bills, all this stuff is happening. I'm just gonna put my talent right here in this hole, and I hope that when you come back, you'll be satisfied. But we know the outcome of that story. So I feel like for us saying yes to God has to do with being obedient, serving Him, loving people, making sure our family is tight. But at the same time, there's an aspect of like, you've called us to this creative movement.
Yeah, honor the gift.
I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to honor this gift and honor my potential in it.
Yeah, that's good. That just reminds me of how our gifts kind of help each other, which is like, I'm able to see what God has put in you and what He's calling you to when maybe you cannot see it, and vice versa, which is kind of dope, because I guess that's why they say like 3-strand cord is not so easily broken. And I think that's how we kind of intertwine and help each other. But also, like, if you have a vision and I'm like, oh yeah, I can bring that vision out, like with style or with this, or I see these colors when you rap and stuff like that. Like, I love that, because it's like the next level of creativity, which is collaboration.
And that's a very important part of creativity, collaboration. I feel like me and you, the way that our lanes and our gifts intertwine is that, like, one, it's on a perspective level. Yeah. There's things that me and you both will be like, I don't want to do this, that we can see in each other when the other can't, right? Yeah. And we help bring each other up. And then it's on like a practical level where it's like, you're creating cover art for me because I can't, go and get cover art from somebody right now. Or just because I really feel like what you're creating is dope, or you're styling me for a music video, or I'm helping you take a photo or whatever, or I'm helping you write out a campaign for something, or
lending me them bars.
writing a couple songs and some verses. There's a practical sense, and even in our creative agency that we've created, like, our gifts work well together, because I'm the script writer, you're the visionary, right? I can see I think I'm the visionary, you're the builder. Like, you actually build sets, you actually build design, like you actually design things, right? So I'm always modeling for her because I'm rocking her pants and all the clothes that she creates and designs. So I'm a living model for them. And then on a spiritual level too, with our faith, where I think the thing that connects us is our ability to tell stories, the place that we come from, and the story that God is trying to tell and breathe on our lives. It allows our creative gifts to intertwine and to build out this third story that we've been building. So yeah.
And I love that because I think I said it before, but like the way you write and the way that you incorporate God has always been convicting towards me. Like because I'll get so caught in the emotion and the feeling of the actual piece that I'm writing, but then you'll bring it back around full circle to God. Like, what is God saying in this, or how is God speaking through you through this, or you just talk about your relationship with God. And because you do that, it convicts and it keeps me in the place of like, oh, how can I make sure that God is in this? And I love that.
No, and I love that. And I think for you, like, your ability to adorn things is always encouraging to me, because I am I could be a low level creative sometimes, where I'll be
what?
No, let me follow. I'm a low level as in like, I'll settle for if something looks good, right?
Okay.
I'll settle for if the song sounds, if it sounds okay. But you're a type of person who wants to adorn things to their excellent, maximized level. And that encourages me to come up and be like, oh, maybe I can put like a chain on these pants, or maybe I can add an extra level of depth of prayer to this creative endeavor right now, because that's how my wife approaches it, and it's so encouraging sometimes. So thank you for being an adorner.
I appreciate that.
And somebody who beautifies places, people, and things.
Yes.
So, did you want to have any concluding thoughts?
I was just gonna say, let's talk about the word.
Yeah, let's get into the word. I feel like we've been on a tangent, but we did want to bring some scripture. I feel like we've had like a lot of word in this specific take of the podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
But Romans 12 as a whole.
Come on, Pastor Mike.
Because Romans 12 starts off so beautifully, like a lot of us know. Brothers and sisters, I encourage you, I urge you to give your bodies to the Lord as living sacrifices, as your act of worship, as a holy and acceptable offering. I feel like that starts off the rest of it, which goes into like a segment of the gifts. And also the next verse is, do not be conformed to the ways of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And then it goes into this segment of, don't think of yourselves more highly than you ought to. Whoop-de-whoop-de-woo. Have a good measure of faith with your gifting. And then it goes into, if you have a gift to serve, if you have a gift to encourage, if you have a gift to lead diligently, serve well. So as this is a creative podcast, we're talking about gifts. I feel like that order of things is superb, because for us, even this morning, we got up out of bed and we're like, let's record. We had to figure out a way that we can invite God in and to give our time, our gifting, and ourselves as a living sacrifice to Him, worshiping Him, because this is a form of worship, right? But we have to add that in there. We have not even add it. It has to begin with that, because if it doesn't, it can lose its measure. It can lose its merit. And then going into the gifting, it's like, all right, this is our worship, our act of worship. Let's do it well, because that's what it's telling you. It's telling you, if you have the gift
do
to
it
serve,
well.
Serve others well. If you have the gift of leadership, lead with diligence.
It's actually very convicting now I think about it.
Very convicting.
Because this is like our 4th time filming this. And each time it's been like a new revelation. And this has been the deepest revelation, because even in that scripture it's saying like, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Present your body as a living sacrifice, which we've had to do. We had to
literally, that's a good point, because we've had to record this podcast at 3 different times over again because of some technical difficulties.
We had to push past how we felt. Like, it's been crazy. They talk about wanting to give up. Like, it's been there 3 times. So no, that's an on time verse. I also was gonna say, I love the I love how it starts off talking about your mind and then going into creativity, because if your mind is not right, you can't really create fluidly. Like at least for me, for us, I know that, like, okay, once we tap in with God, like you said, once we tap in with God and let him download his revelation, his identity, we can hold on to that and we can move into the identity of our gifts and our talents.
And that's good. And I think that's a formula that we've strove to keep over the time. And it's a formula that we're going to continue to utilize. And it's something we want to encourage y'all. I know for me, whenever I remember this one time I was at a group session with my homeboy, and he laid this song down. He got a couple other people on it. Then it was time for me to do my verse. And after I did my verse, everybody was like, "What the heck was that? That was crazy." I always want to point people back to, this was God. This was him. Like, he wrote this through me, and he wrote this through my life. So that way I can write this. Even if it wasn't like God saying, "Yo, write this line like this, like this." He wrote this through my life so that way the inspiration can come out of me. And that's always what I want to do with whatever I'm doing. But it starts with the renewing of my mind. It starts with the giving myself to the Lord as a living sacrifice, as an act of worship. And that's sometimes not starting with the creative, but starting my day and starting my process with him. I want to encourage y'all, like, if you have a gift, a creative gift or a gift of any kind, we encourage y'all to kind of follow that same model. Start with giving yourself to God. Start with giving yourself to worship, and then in that dwell on who God is and who you are. And then give yourself to your gift. Let the creativity flow in any way, shape, or form.
I love that.
Yeah, that's fire. I think we just found that right now. So that's it.
That's real good.
So
be transformed. That's a transformation. Sometimes it's in process.
Yes, it's in process. So we want to thank y'all for joining us today. We appreciate y'all. Welcome. This is our FMF podcast. Shout out Andre for that.
I know.
Faith, music, and fashion.
FMF.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Danny.
And we love y'all. And hopefully y'all, you'll tune in to next week's podcast, which will go into the depth of our story.
Yeah.
Peace.